Off-Grid News welcomes you to the news that's not fit to print. The shoe company Nike will terminate any indentured servant who has not gotten the vaccine by January 15th. Keanu Reeves proved that if you put your mind to something, you can achieve anything. Reeves spent over 2 decades in a rigorous program of aging to play the part of an older Neo in the last Matrix movie. Spain might become the first country to downgrade the virus from a pandemic to an endemic and treat it like the flu. Pfizer said in a joint statement, "We did not give Spain permission to do this yet. There will be consequences for their rebellion." AP fact-checker fact-checked everything Trump said at the Arizona rally and found it all to be false, including his wife is the most beautiful woman he has ever seen. AP reported that Michelle Obama is more beautiful. Florida Republicans want to force teachers to wear mics so parents can monitor classrooms. The teachers union immediately objected to this intrusion and said it violates student-teacher confidentiality, leaving one parent to say, "Do what?" Proof of God. New study shows non-random mutations in DNA, throwing the theory of evolution out the window, leaving the scientific community to say, European Medicines Agency lists rare spinal conditions as a side effect of the thing that this platform will list as medical misinformation if I mention it. Cows are now being given virtual reality goggles to simulate being in grassy fields longer, which signals the cow to produce more milk. Soon the machines will be putting humans in similar matrices to produce electric for the machines. Senator Cruz asks, "Is this what Facebook's new name, Meta, means?" "Thank you, Senator, for the question. It's exciting times ahead," said Mark Zuckerberg, who has renamed Facebook to Meta, meaning virtual reality. China reports first Omicron case. CNN's Brian Stelter said, "What does this mean for the Olympics? Will the previous Olympics be the last one ever? We're living in troubled times. No more football, basketball, baseball, and the dreaded NASCAR. No more vacations or family outings. No more movies for young couples, first dates. Our society is coming to an end. It's an end of an era. Trump destroyed it all in a short 4 years. And he plans to run for election again. It's quite likely he'll win too. What will we lose then? No more babies, no more food, no more oxygen. Forever gone the human race." National Security Advisor says Texas synagogue takeover was an act of terrorism, and it's my job to ensure that those January 6 protesters will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Leaving one man to say, "What in the world is he talking about? Did Biden write his speech?" CDC director made a gaffe that she said it's encouraging that the 75% of the deaths people who are vaccinated are from the people who have 4 or more pre-existing conditions, leaving every Republican in the country say, "She doesn't care about the disabled." She will be taking more media training courses now. CNN's ratings plummeted 90% in the first weeks of 2022. CNN's Brian Stelter said, "This just isn't true. CNN is the most watched cable news, and it's the most trusted name in news. Trump is spreading more misinformation to try to regain his popularity off the backs of the anchors of CNN. It's painfully obvious that he hates CNN, and he can't get over our viewers to change the channel to watch Fox News. Then he can win 2024. But not to worry, our viewers are smarter than that. Trump will be slandered and lied about on this channel 24 hours a day and 7 days a week." Congresswoman Maxine Waters is very upset again. She said, who cares what she says? One of the richest people in Congress, and she's always complaining about her underprivilege. New TikTok trend shows influencers basting chicken in cold medication and calling it sleeping chicken. Health experts raise concern over the trend and says it's very dangerous, leaving one Missourian to say, "Whatever happened to Trump banning TikTok from the United States? Call him what you will, but that was a great idea." New York senator, whose name no one cares about, said Democrat Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia and Democrat Senator Christine Sinema must face consequences after declining to support President Joe Biden's push in the filibuster, which is a Senate rule that requires 60 votes to move on to be voted on. He said once we remove their teeth and fingernails with pliers, they will most likely change their mind. If not, Joe Biden will need to issue an executive order to do whatever he wants, leaving one person to say, if Biden can just write an executive order to do whatever he wants, then why do we need senators? I don't think he quite understands this job that he was sent up there to do. It's incredible to me that these people know less about their jobs than the American people do. CNN's Brian Stelter said, once again, Trump has damaged our democracy to what may be beyond repair. He bullied 2 Democrat senators to vote against removing the filibuster. The filibuster's been around since 1837 and has hampered sensible legislation ever since. The filibuster prevented Obama from being king. Life in the United States would be so much easier without it. Since Trump is causing so much damage, it is forcing Biden to write an executive order to ensure every person in the world, ages 16 to 10 years after death, can vote for our next president. Mr. Trump, you will not stand in the way of progress. I can assure you of that, you big meanie. Top scientists from around the world got together to determine the first symptoms of Omicron and determined it has a very strange, sore, scratchy throat, leaving one 60-year-old California woman to say, oh wow, I didn't know it at the time, but I've had Omicron every year of my life. And scientists have discovered something happening to our climate, but I'm not allowed to discuss it on this platform because it will classify it as misinformation, since the people who run this platform are so much more intelligent and woke than the scientists. Health departments in several states confirmed that they are looking into a steep surge in mortality rates for ages 18 to 49 in 2021, which are not linked to the virus. Bill Gates, Dr. Fauci, and Pfizer declined to comment. Texas synagogue terrorist was banned from UK court after a 9/11 rant. However, he was allowed to fly to the US before taking hostages into Texas. When asked, Homeland Security Director said, we allowed him to fly since VP Harris said that the January 6 protesters was the worst than 9/11. Was he a Republican, the director asked? I think not. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, tested positive for the virus and is isolating. Apparently, the only people on the planet who has not been affected by the virus is the crew of Off-Grid News, the news that's not fit to print. A passenger on a flight held a French fry in his mouth the entire flight to avoid wearing a mask. Flight attendant asked him why he was holding it in his mouth, and he said, I wanted to avoid unwanted calories. Trump said in a statement, okay, I hope inflation doesn't get as high as Nancy Pelosi's eyebrows. After one of her daily press conferences, Jen Psaki gave a shout out to the Bengals football team. Let's go Bengals. Fox News' Peter Doocy immediately responded by giving NASCAR's driver Brandon Brown a shout out by saying, let's go Brandon. In an unusual appearance, Robin Williams said, politicians should wear sponsor jackets like NASCAR drivers. Then we know who owns them. A Michigan college suspended a tenured professor after a video of his profanity-filled lecture went viral on YouTube. He said, sorry, this is a family show, I can't say that. YouTube said the video was not violate its terms of service. He has a right to freedom of speech. Texas created a thing that replaces the thing everyone has been mandated to get, but I can't tell you about the thing because the platform says it violates its terms of service and medical misinformation, and I don't have a right to say it. Jeffrey Epstein brought 8 young women with him on the trips to see Bill Clinton at the White House and could land the former president in court facing criminal allegations. Bill Clinton said, I seriously doubt that. I avoided conviction when I was president for having relations with that woman in the Oval Office. I'll just say, I did not have sexual relations with those women. After 100 years of being part of the Senate rules, the Democrats called the filibuster racist. Now wait one gosh darn minute. Didn't the Democrats use that almost every day just a short year ago? I told my wife she was one of those when she said no to me the other night. She beat the you-know-what out of me. How do Democrats get away with it all the time? CNN's Brian Stelter said, it's with heavy heart and regret that I have to inform you that the hostage takers in Texas was not an evil Trump supporter white man. I'm not even sure how to explain this event any further. Fox News is making this the story's primary talking points. But it's completely understandable why this man is doing what he's doing. He wanted a scientist who was in prison for 80 years by the evil Trump supporters released. There was a confrontation at a Walmart in California when a man walked up to a woman yelling and screaming to put her mask on. The woman screamed in fear. Immediately, dozens of people came to her rescue, but all immediately left the scene when they realized she did not have her mask on. Eventually, the woman put her mask on. The man started the confrontation, walked away, pulled his mask down, lit a cigarette. One witness says, I'm so thankful for that man. He saved who knows how many lives. Bill Gates wants to dim the sun, and literally no one can stop him. Let's see how well he does with this one after he killed all those with the virus. Woohoo! Omicron is twice as contagious than Delta, and more dangerous mutation of Omicron is on the way, said the CDC spokesperson. Medical experts find link between eating fast food and depression, leaving one Missouri ability to say, where in the world did these people get their education? And how are they considered experts? I could have told them that when I was 5. Dr. Fauci was asked if Omicron means the end to the pandemic. Igor said, yeah, that's entirely up to my master, Pfizer and Bill Gates. When they give the word, they will know. Bill is busy trying to dim the sun. I suspect when he finishes that project, the pandemic will end. Babylon Bee reports historians discover a document from 1776 that removes all mandates and restrictions. Researchers with the Independence National Historic Park have located an ancient document they say renders all national mandates and restrictions void. The document, dating to 1776, is being referred to as the strange name Declaration of Independence by park historians, who alleged it details the existence of an unalienable rights and that government derives their power from the consent of the governed. Sources indicate that the documents were found in a park archives, allegedly buried under a stack of Benjamin Franklin's raunchy poems. Press secretary said the document was written by a white slave owner and should not be used to determine U.S. policy. Turns out, senator that Dr. Fauci called a moron when the senator asked Fauci about making his earnings public is actually a moron. Once the senator looked into Fauci's earnings, he discovered that Fauci invested in China. Fauci has invested $10.2 million into China's, causing OpenBooks.com to sue the NIAID for the release of all records. Well, who's the moron now? Said Senator Ted Cruz. Newly elected Republican governor of Virginia baffled the nation by doing exactly what he said he was going to do. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said, I appointed a committee to investigate this abuse of power by the Virginia governor. Once again, New York students are forced to eat lunches outside in the freezing cold, while the teachers eat inside to prevent the transmission of the virus. When asked, the teachers union said, we tried to force the schools to do remote learning, but was overruled. So if we make all the kids sick, then they have no choice but to stay home. Washington state citizens can breathe a sigh of relief. It appears the state is opposing that all non-vaccinated citizens be placed in newly built detention camps. Leaving one Missourian hillbilly said, before I quit school in the 8th grade, I think I recall a history lesson where some guy with a funny looking mustache tried that. If I remember correctly, that didn't end well for him or the people in the camps. I could be wrong, though. Pfizer got a bit of good news this week. Israel researchers say a 4th vaccine shot likely not good enough to protect against Omicron. FDA is only days away from a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week IV drip of the vaccine. Leaving one person in Washington to say, I don't know what is taking them so long. Millions of people are dying every day. Just give us the IV drip already. Thousands of family pets will be destroyed as a result of contracting the virus. That's right, Hong Kong discovered the virus in infected hamsters. Leaving one American to say, pretty soon they'll be doing that to people. Crazy times we live in. Be afraid. Be very afraid. That's all your news that's not fit to print. Please share this with your friends on other social media sites. Click subscribe so you can get future updates. Thanks for watching.